Hi, welcome, Ghost Addicts. Thanks for tuning in. Please take a moment to hit the 5 stars, download the podcast, give us a nice review, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Storytime Fun. And if you can make a donation, buy me coffee, Sneakies, or PayPal me anonymous content. And if you have a really great ghost story for us, email us at jobsmh@live.com. Okay, so this story you're gonna love and find it absolutely frightening and scary, and it's gonna make you want to scream. Okay, so have you heard of the R Theta? The R Theater is in Auburn, Illinois, and the legend about the ghosts haunting this theater is so strange and just something that ghost hunters and ghost buffs would want to go visit and check out. So, the Auburn Theater was purchased by a man named Robin Terry, and some interesting things happened. So let's go to the very beginning of the construction of this theater called the R Theater. And you're like, well, why is it R? Okay, so I'll get to that. So the construction began in 1946 by the Mitchell family, and it was the largest building in town. Just think in 1946, a the largest building was a theater. And, if you're an actor, writer, director, producer, or just love theater, that would be amazing. And it was a post war cinema. And so it was nice to go into the rural area instead of to the big, large city for entertainment. So the Mitchell family's children were Ray and Reed, and their mother was Rihanna. And they also had the R restaurant. There was a restaurant actually in the theater that the Mitchell family owned. So the initial R was after their children, Ray, Reed, and their mother, Rihanna. So there was a lot of R's. So the R theater, the R restaurant. So that's how it all began. And the kitchen was built into the theater, and they lived in the house that was attached to the south of the theater. So the family actually lived next to the theater, and it was really big. They had seating for 500 people. They even had so many sold out showings that they added extra 50 seats. So there was a large wooden stage, and there was bands performing and dances and all kind of live acts there. And so the theater was eventually sold in the late 1970s. And so it just eventually, when people went to the city and other theaters and other things open in nearby Springfield, the art theater was closed down. So that's kind of what happened to it. In its heyday, it was really grand and amazing. And the new owner, Robin Terry, he had purchased it, and this theater has been a video arcade, a tattoo shop, apartments, nightclubs, but none of them seemed to last long enough. And then Robin Terry purchased it and made, he did some improvements, and now there's a classic insurance company in there, and it's known as the Auburn Haunted Theater, and it's becoming this amazing haunted attraction since around 2008. So um, that even has been investigated by the Midwest Paranormal Society, and just all kind of people have been investigating this. And some believe a young girl about the age of 4 years old. Some think there's a middle-aged woman, and then an older man that's said to have seems to have some respiratory problems. And they think that this man, the older man, is Reed Mitchell, who actually died in the flower garden of his house. Beautiful. He even had a garden, and it's kind of like he never left the theater. A theater buff, an actor, writer, director, producer at heart, and all these ghostly events. Strange sounds, hauntings, and sightings. Can you imagine you going in there and like, woo, you know? And so this is very popular, the art theater. So Robin Terry, he purchased the theater, fixed it up, made it nice, and they hear voices in the empty hallways and footsteps going from room to room. Now that is creepy. How would you like to be in there? It's large. Like, remember, 500 seats plus 50. It's a big space, and you have empty hallways, you have footsteps going from room to room, and they said that Robin brought a psychic in, and one psychic told him that a person named John Wayne is haunting the buildings, and then someone sees an image of a clown, and someone says she heard laughter. So, how specific is that? Doesn't sound very specific, but it sounds like there's ghost sounds, footsteps, strange and unusual activities going on there. And then Robin seems to be a real testing the odds here. He he has a a wooden armoire that he got bought. So an armoire is a piece of furniture, and this particular piece of furniture that he bought to bring to the already haunting, strange, and weird happenings and spooky happenings and ghostly, chilling things that are happening in the art theater, he buys this wooden armoire, which is lovely and beautiful, which was owned by the attorney of the infamous serial killer John Wayne Gacy. And this guy, you can check it out in our podcast in series one, the clown named Pogo. So his alter ego was a clown, and he preyed upon young women, young men, and boys dressed as a clown. So the attorney had the wooden armoire, and uh, excuse me, John Wayne Gacy. So maybe she means that's who's haunting it, John Wayne, not John Wayne the actor, but John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer who dresses Pogo the Clown, because he had painted some of these portraits while in death row, and they kept those portraits in the armoire. So Robin has this armoire, I guess apparently a haunted armoire, and so people that go visit this art theater, they experience, spooky things like bright lights appearing in the blacked out room, shadows moving through the hallways. Can you imagine something touching the back of your head or tapping you or even could scratch you or bite you? No things. I know this is something that the back of your hairs will stand up. And that John apparently is haunting that. Thank you for bringing this wooden piece of furniture into the art theater, which was probably just a lovely, the owner was just haunting it with this little girl, but now they brought in a serial killer, so he could be mad and angry and trying to get you. So if you're a young boy or a guy, maybe you take some extra precaution, because that's who that guy got. So this is a really spooky and scary story. Let me know if you actually been to the Arbonne Theater. Did you have any strange sightings? Any voices? Did you see anything? Did you hear any footsteps? Let us know. And there's a wonderful paranormal society I want to tell you about, because they do great things. So they have a Midwest Paranormal Society who actually investigated the R Building Theater back in 2008, and they if you donate to them, they give all the 100% of the proceeds from their investigation that they do to the Lost Limbs Foundation. So it sounds like people that are support our military and serve our country and that have been injured. So they send their money. So if you make a check payable to them, they will show you a copy receipt that they sent the money to this foundation. So that's a lovely cause. Um, so check out the Haunted Art Theater. You know, maybe it's where all the dead poets go and actors go to hang out, but they got this armoire that's bringing the spirit is supposedly of this gentleman, John Wayne Gacy, who dressed up as a clown and did terrible things to children. So anyhow, this is a scary theater not to be toyed with. I don't want to go to any theater where there's footsteps off the screen that's not supposed to be there, and shadows and lights cruising around that's not part of the sound effects or the visual effects. So I hope you enjoyed this story about the haunting of our theater. And thank you for listening. Please give us a like, download the podcast, and thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel and or donating. And send us your ghostly story so we can put it on the podcast at jobsmh@live.com. Thank you so much for listening and have a fantastic week.